You're joking. Not another one?
Welcome to another episode of Not Another HR podcast. I'm Rachel Rigg. I'm a solicitor at Horsfield Menzies. And this?
This is Alastair Swindlehurst, apparently. I'm the founder of EZHR. What are you laughing at for? So, yes, how are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm fine. It's been Easter.
It's been Easter.
Probably one of my least enjoyable Easters, to be fair.
I enjoy that there's some sort of ranking in your mind then about where that falls.
There is definitely.
And it's bottom.
Yeah, I was in bed for most of it with illness, which is not good.
Not how you want to be.
No.
But beats kind of working through the weekend for court. So
I was going to say, I think being ill actually trumps being in court for about a week and a half.
Pros, cons, ups and downs.
And being called back for an additional 2 days.
I mean, fun and games. We love to see it, but
do you?
Yes. I mean, yes. If it makes the point you want it to make. But it's fine. Anyway, this is a podcast where we're going to talk to you about updates in the employment space, whether that's from a legal perspective or what people are doing from trends. This is not legal advice. If you need legal advice, go and get professional advice from an actual advisor that you've engaged. And other than that, the only thing I want to add to this is current for what we're talking about today as we're filming it. Because everything's changing so much, it feels like we need to make the point that if you listen to this in 6 months' time, none of this might be accurate.
No, and I think that's probably the big thing at the minute is that there's still so much that's waiting to come out in terms of guidance and what's to come. And we kind of half joked about the good old COVID updates or the furlough updates during COVID. I think there's a fair breeze that we'll start to see those types of updates on a Friday afternoon at 3 p.m.
Yeah.
Where the government will go like, hey guys.
Remember us, we've done some work this week and we've got things to tell you.
We've worked so hard this week and we thought we'd give you at 3 o'clock on a Friday. And I also think as well is that with some of the stuff that's coming through is that I kind of say to people like, don't be first to make a mistake.
Yeah.
I think we've always talked about this initial stage of stuff as being very much sort of administrative driven. It's relatively simple, so I don't think you need to overthink this space particularly. But what I think there is that there's planning needed for what's coming sort of October onwards. And that's the stuff where we really need the guidance at the minute. And that seems to be, can we look to that space and go, like, where's the guidance, guys? And there's a big empty box of guidance.
Yeah, help us to help you. Tell us what you want. But to be fair, even the changes for the actual legislation to change SSP in time for April only came through like the week before. It was like a real
oh god, yeah.
Indiana Jones style finish, like pulling the hat out under the door.
But to be fair, you would, in terms of the stuff that came out, it felt pretty obvious in the guidance. It's like
we all knew what it would be, but it's just there's been a lot of commitments from the government about what's coming down the pipeline for them, and now they've got to do it, and they've got deadlines.
Yes. But I also think there's one of the things that we talked about is the unintended consequences of this as well. And I think we'll get into it. Probably some of the sick pay, but it's like the things with casual workers, and like we had a WhatsApp discussion yesterday about casual sick pay with casual workers as well, which again very, very interesting because we had a conversation with a client about it yesterday, and we got there, but it's a bit where I think there's going to be a few people caught out with that.
100%.
Absolutely. So, April. What a month to be alive. It's spring.
Hottest day in the world yesterday, and now it's back to trying to rain the whole time.
Is it raining?
Trying. Thinking about it. But one of the things April always brings is changes to pay rates. And so I have written them down because I know I tested you a minute ago and you almost got there in terms of your memory on what the new rates are.
I got the pounds right, I didn't get the pence right, which I think is unfair.
So we talked about in our last episode, national minimum wage is now up to £12.71 for over 21s.
Yep.
Statutory sick pay is now what, Alastair?
£123 and oh god, I can't remember the pence. 25 pence.
25 pence, correct. And then a week's pay for redundancy or basic awards in the employment tribunal, if you're a cynic like me, has now gone up to a cap of £751. So the maximum someone can get if you make them redundant and they've got 20 years service is now £22,530.
The one thing with that which catches a few people out is if you've already confirmed a redundancy with someone, the redundancy takes effect. Say you confirm a redundancy before April, and the redundancy takes effect after April. Make sure you update the redundancy calculation for that as well, because we've seen quite a few people over the years not do that, and it's caught people out.
It's just a few extra pounds, isn't it? But it just makes that difference, especially when you're adding it up over service and like a mass group of redundancies.
I think that's the point. Is that it's the points-based prizes at this moment, and I think at the minute that's the thing for a lot of people, is that it's lots of little pounds here and there, and if the bigger the workforce, the bigger the implications for that, with that as well. So. But yeah, I think definitely just make sure you're aware of that. But the
last one, is Vento bans.
I love Vento bans.
I know you love Vento bans. So Vento bans are those awards you get for injury to feelings for discrimination claims. So these have gone up. So a lower band for less serious cases is now £1,300 to £12,600. That used to be near like what the maximum sort of reward would be. So, we've really moved on. For middle band in the Vento categories where it's not an upper band case, I love how vague these get at this point. It's £12,600 to £37,700. The upper band is £37,700 to £62,900. And then your exceptional cases over £62,900.
And I think it's worthwhile just we talk to people about Vento bandings quite a bit. When we get the discrimination claims in, we'll try and talk people through what it actually means as well. So generally speaking, we would say like entry level is something which is a very mild one-off event that you're looking at. Next
not a series.
Just
that kind of something's been a little bit offensive, but maybe someone's not gone out of their way to do it, and it's not like a bullying or like a sustained.
It's a bit daft, and you could maybe put it down to sort of just not being fully aware of things. The middle banding is more about kind of a really bad offence which is quite intentional, and it's the middle, but that middle banding also covers sort of a mild campaign, as I would describe
mild campaign, but also things like where something has led to someone's exit. Generally speaking, you're looking at sort of middle band unless it really has been so abhorrent.
Yes. And then the kind of next band up is kind of where you're looking at the excessive campaigns, and that's the bit where it gets really, really expensive. That's where you are into discussion. That's where you see stuff on in sort of the papers where they see people have been emailed stuff, and because either a protected characteristic, people will send them images or whatever, and you just think, oh, for God's sake, you know what I mean? So it's really, I think when you do get when you do get sort of the discrimination stuff through, it's really important to understand the Vento bandings in terms of actually the cost of things to you. We do try and explain it to clients as best we can. We probably oversimplify it a little bit, but I think it's to get people. You
kind of have to, because at the end of the day, right, these are all incredibly vague sets of guidance that have been established through years of case law. But, we talk about this a lot, even with council, where we're like, what are you seeing trends-wise in how injury to feelings awards are made? And most of the time when it comes to injury to feelings awards and the Vento bans being used, it has to be based on what that person says their injury to feelings has been, just as much it is about what happened.
Yes.
Because if what happened is serious, but they're like, actually, that didn't bother me at all, it's going to be a low award. Yeah.
But I think the interesting thing as well, and we're seeing this was, I think, did we have this conversation? I always forget the conversation.
Possibly.
I have a conversation, did I speak to you about this? It's because so many friends are solicitors, and we have the most exciting conversations.
You need new friends.
I need friends, to be fair.
Anyone who would like to apply to be Alice's friend, please write in.
Please. I'm not hard work much. But it's also things with the definitions of, say, you take a disability, for example. When you get into the Vento bandings, it's a definition of what was a disability, when was it raised, and actually the fact that things don't need to be disclosed. I think the judgment of value of claims is getting harder and harder and harder.
100%.
And it's there's almost kind of a reset that's needed in that space to sort of give a bit more clarity kind of about what hits what level in there.
It's absolutely something that's a bit of a finger in the air, and a judge gets to go, I feel bad for this person, so I'm going to give them more money. And that's how this is a lot of the ways that you can kind of see judges using their discretion that way.
Yes, and discretion's good, but discretion can also kind of mean it's a bit of a lottery.
Yeah,
at times.
That's it. We don't want a random wheel of fortune every time it comes to some sort of award. Like we'd like some sort of...
What, Graham Norton with a glass of wine at the side?
That'd be great.
You know what
if he could pop along to the tribunal and just say, today your award is...
Get like, no, it's not, it's you. Oh, anyway, I was going to go like a hotspot, but that's you bet. So is there anything else in the April changes?
Not, I mean, obviously in relation to like statutory maternity pay, paternity pay, etc. Those have gone up as well, but I did not write them down. So no, you'll have to look that up.
Okay, interesting. We've had a real run of shared parental leave recently.
Have you?
Yes, which has been quite the surprise because we don't normally get a lot of shared parental leave.
I wonder why. I wonder what the trend is. I wonder why people are more likely to reach for it at the minute.
I think there's definitely the bit where you'll see the father with a better scheme that you can access. We've had a couple of those, but there would. I think there's maybe more of an appetite within the group that are having it, and it seems less of a ridiculous idea. Not to say it is ridiculous, but I think certainly within my peer group, it was always that we would never share parental leave.
No, of course not. 2 weeks back at work.
Yeah, exactly. Get it in there. But I think the group that are coming through now are probably more open to this, and it makes more sense. And there's that sense of kind of being in it together. Also, I think there's a sense of actually less disruption to career as well. If you do it in the right way, it's almost like taking a long holiday. I'm not saying I'm looking at the baby as a holiday now, honestly.
Sure.
Foot in May fighters
today.
But it's not that big elapsed period of time.
No.
And actually, you've still got some continuity with what you do as well.
It's interesting because when it was first put to me that actually, when in the fight for equality, and women not being discriminated at work for taking time off, that the solution to that is actually giving men better rights for leave, because in doing that you level the playing field about who's out of the business and how that works, and you see it really disrupts that status quo about, you know, women being out of work for a year, a bloke being out for 2 weeks, and like it's like a couple of weeks off and then he's back at it. So, you know, it was something that I kind of initially rejected because I was like, no, you know, women have gone through this thing where they've, you know, pushed this baby into the world, they've got physical recovery as well, there's feeding, there's all the rest of it. But actually, in terms of leveling the playing field at work, that is how it has to happen.
But I also think those roles have changed a bit.
100%.
We see it with some of our clients where the mother's maybe like the MD of the business. She's still answering emails literally as the baby's arriving. Honestly, and takes statutory minimum time off, and then just back straight into it, and the husband's there, and they'll pick it up. But I think that's definitely just one to watch, because I think just more from the point of view that I think there's a few more complicated. It's a bit more tricky to deal with. So if you are getting it, just make sure you deal with it in the right way. Don't overtake, and it's all managed in the right way. Equally as interesting.
I wonder what topic you're going to come out with now.
And talking of the rain, umbrella schemes.
What a segue.
Oh my God.
Did you think about that one before you came in?
No, I didn't. Just thought of it on the spot, you know what I mean? It's kind of, I've got a really fast brain.
Maybe we should cancel the podcast and just get you on for comedy.
I am committed to content.
I think so.
I am. Yeah. We are the premium HR content creators.
Right, umbrella company.
Umbrella companies. So the legislation around umbrella companies has been updated, and in the same way that IR35 shifted obligations for tax and basically making sure that tax was paid back onto the engaging organisation, it looks like they're doing exactly the same thing for this.
It's bigger fish to go after, isn't it? So in relation to this liability that's shifted, it's for unpaid PAYE and for national insurance contributions down the hierarchy of these like umbrella structures.
Yes, but I think the interesting thing is that I think one thing is that umbrella firms the IR35 things around umbrellas only kind of kicks in once you're at auditable level, which is around about, you've got to have a turnover around about 14 million, book value about 7.1-ish.
I'm going to trust you with all this.
It changed last year because it used to be about 10.2 and 5.1, and then it went up at that point. So I used to be bang on with the old numbers. The new ones, I'm still not quite. And then it's an average headcount of 50. Over the year, you need 2 of the 3 to hit audit level. That's when the IR35 stuff kicks in. we've got a lot of people that are below that. They still think they've got to do the IR35 obligations if they're bringing contractors in. You don't need to. I think it's just a nice reminder that you don't always need to do that. Think about where you are, but you have also got the deemed employment issues as well. So be careful with that. But with the umbrella schemes, is that they were always there to try and force people to kind of pay the tax and national insurance.
Yeah.
And we've done some big pieces of work with large employers in and around IR35 and umbrella schemes a couple of years ago. Complete nightmare. And
who would have thought?
I think what we saw at the time, and what the reason why this is that a lot of people were still sailing very close to the breeze in what they were doing.
Yeah.
And I think what this is just a reaction to take away loopholes at this moment in time. And I think if you look at the route of activity over the next 12 months with everything, everything is about removing loopholes. And not that I would ever get into trouble to say that there's an issue in terms of finding wriggle room. There's an in-job there.
No one has ever pulled you off on that sort of thing before. No, that's not a lived
not
experience.
Like a Quango has ever pulled me up on using the phrase wriggle room in an event title. I got told off by a Greater Manchester body, but anyway, that's a different story for a different day. But this whole thing at this moment in time is about how do we take away loopholes from employers. It's making sure that you're paying the right tax, that we're accounting for the right national insurance, that actually that grey ambiguity that people could sort of play in is just disappearing at this moment in time.
Yeah.
Which is forcing people down to be we've got to deal with things.
HMRC want their money.
They do.
And they want to have other people be responsible for making sure that happens. So this has apparently come about as a bit of a trend of people not meeting those minimum PAYE thresholds consistently on a very small level, and then having to filter that back up to find some liability for it. So employers of record are going to be really hit by this quite a lot. So overseas bodies who employ someone to just do their payroll locally, now they're still going to remain responsible for it. But I don't think it's a massive surprise. I think this is kind of the trend we'll see across the board with little level compliance like this, where you fall under that threshold.
Yes, but I think but I think this is the more sort of, without sounding like a fearmonger, it's that how do we then make sure that we're not. This is all about kind of this bigger business administration, then being sort of almost kind of, you can feel it falling down on top of people. And that's a real tough stuff.
It is. So watch out.
Excellent.
Great.
So, Fair Work Agency.
Fair Work Agency have announced their board.
Whoop whoop.
I mean, so interestingly, before we get into who they've appointed, one of the things I was looking into was the Fair Work Agency starts in April, doesn't have enforcement powers yet, but once it does, and we don't know when they're coming, so surprise when that comes, but when they do, they'll be able to go back to December 2025.
Oh, did not know that.
I know, right?
Yes.
So from the enforcement of the Employment Rights Act, they'll be able to look back over that period to do things like sick pay, holiday pay enforcement, etc. Those rights that, although they have no ability to do anything about it yet, they can look back now.
But I think I was with Swick and used a very awful name to describe the Fair Work Agency. I was like, ooh, it's a bit strong. It's like, wow. No, but it is. And I think this is. I don't think people are looking in the direction of the Fair Work Agency enough at this moment in time. It is. I think it is going to be a combination of that national minimum wage framework of approaching issues set alongside the powers of HSE.
Yeah.
And you've kind of created this kind of really kind of quite powerful kind of situation. I think the people who are sitting on the board are really quite interesting. I I think there's 6 people that have been announced, 3 of whom are...
9 announced.
Oh, 9, sorry, do apologise.
3 employer background,
Yes.
3 trade union background, and then 3 kind of professors or research professionals that work in the employment space in a more neutral capacity.
Yeah, so we've got Unite on their Communication Workers Union and Prospect. I'm not surprised that CWU are on there and Unite. I can imagine Uzdor have got their nose out of joint, but
and didn't get an invite to the party.
yeah, and they were always going to be on there. I think for me, I think the fact that they're making a third of the board,
It's quite heavy.
yeah, it's quite.
I mean, like, you can have employee background representatives without them necessarily having to be trade unions,
Yes.
but
And I think if you look at the independent members, you've got. So in addition to that, we've got Patricia Finlay, who is Professional Work Employment Relations at the Scottish Centre for Employment Research. So again, another ER-led person. Probably, I would not be surprised if she's got background in sort of employee relations.
Yeah.
In that, Gavin Kelly, Chief Executive Nuffield. Again, sort of generally good. I'm not too bad at that. And he's head of Resolution Foundation. And Dora Olivia Vicol, who's Chief Executive of the Work Rights Centre. And she supported migrant and vulnerable workers, which again, there'll be some really admirable work in there. But I probably think it's from an employer-led perspective, it's potentially quite limited. I think when you look at the employer kind of bias people, you've got Neil Carberry, who's Chief Executive of the Recruitment Employment Confederation. Now, Neil, I've come across for years. I think he's a good advocate. I actually quite like him. I think he speaks a lot of sense. The other 2 individuals are Mustafa Faruqi, and he's Employee Relations Strategy Director for BT.
okay.
And then you have Joanna Young, who's Chief Executive of the Association of Labour Providers. I think, so there's a big gap for me in terms of, and this is where I kind of start to get my little drum out and go like, ugh.
You need to get you a little drum.
I do. I've got a tantrum generally to go with these things. But for me is that there is if you look at employees of 100 heads or less, there is no one speaking about their voices and kind of how best to do this.
Yeah.
Like Neil, if I just look at that employees group, Neil is a step removed from sort of day-to-day running of businesses. I think he's good, and I think he will be I think he's very even-handed. I think he's very sensible. The chat from BT, the problem is that they are coming from a business at scale.
Yeah.
And their understanding of what's required.
They haven't been on the front line for a long time.
I think their front line compared to the front line to what is a more normal sized business in this country is very different.
Yeah.
You know, business the size of BT, they are a massive employer. They've got a massive amount to bring, but they are they're an abnormality. They're a small percentage of the businesses in this country are of that size.
Yeah.
And I feel there is a. I'm not disagreeing with what the Fair Work Agency is trying to do, but I think my concern is about the way it will go about what it's going to do, because the way it's coming out is that I'm almost feeling like there's going to be dawn raids where they're going to go into premises.
Have you paid your holiday pay?
Yeah. You know what I mean? You're gonna have everyone sort of like corralled in the boardroom, cuffed as they go through your paper.
Maybe the first couple of examples might be a bit like that. Then they probably might get a bit bored.
Is this libelous or slander? I think
not my area of expertise, but give it a go and I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you afterwards.
Yeah, but I do like I kind of sit there and think as a thing, as an entity, wrap into that they know that if you don't keep adequate records.
Yeah, so this is the other thing that's come through, is this new criminal sanctions for anyone who is found not to keep their holiday pay records up to date. Now, look, I don't think anyone's going to be in cuffs from that perspective. What we're talking about is unlimited fines, and that will be in a situation where it's like the most abhorrent, complete departure from any attempt of keeping holiday pay records. But the new obligation came in April 2026, which is that you need to keep records of the pay, the time off you've given people, that they've had their 5.6 weeks per year, what they've been paid for that time, and then from there that you have paid in lieu of holiday when people exit. And then you might need to keep, so those are the three things you have to have records of for at least 6 years now. Great, fine. But most people will have that already. But what you might want on top of it is keeping records of your soft support. So when you email around to people and say, please can you take your holiday, etc. Those are really good records to have, so you can show in the event of enforcement that you've done what you're supposed to have done, right?
Yes.
But realistically, is that going to result in criminal sanctions? And realistically, you know, the Fair Work Agency kind of comes hand in hand with this new obligation, because without us having an obligation to keep records, the Fair Work Agency has nothing to look at.
Yes.
So,
but I think there is a lot of people who are still paper based. Everything's on Excel spreadsheets.
yeah.
You have fat fingers, which then overwrite data.
Well, also, not going to lie, holiday pay changes on a probably annual basis in terms of how it's been calculated.
No.
So, you know, like everything from that, like roll up, you know, paying in lieu of accrued holiday, this concept of a week's pay changes through case law all the time. So, you know, what might have been compliant at one point might not be later. So I have a real sympathy for employers where there is any kind of commission structure, you know, bonus structure, etc., that means that a week's pay isn't just a salary, because it is an absolute mountain to climb in terms of compliance.
But it's the bit where, to your point, a lot of people aren't very good. They'll just do stuff.
Yeah.
They'll find themselves at the end of the year where they'll be like, we've come across people that will go, you know what, I can't afford you to take the time off next year because you've not taken it this year.
Yeah.
Here you go, I'll just pay you. Which you should know that you can't pay.
It's people who kind of think they're doing favours for helping out and end up falling foul of someone hasn't had their 5.6 weeks.
And this will be where I think people will get caught out, because they'll be doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And they'll generally, like, they won't be bad employers.
Yeah.
They won't be technically correct from an employment law perspective, but they'll want to do the right thing. They'll then have a disgruntled employee, I suspect. That disgruntled employee will be like, right buggers. And then that will then lead into an investigation, and then all these things will then come up. And I think the other thing as well is that I suspect that a few people will. One is businesses of this type actually keeping pace with what's going on. You've now got the Fair Work Agency that's going to be operating as people are learning at this moment in time. So it's not as if you've got this period of grace where you can go, right, just give us a bit of time, we might get a few things wrong to begin with, but actually we'll get there in the end.
No, we're in it.
No, it's like you've got to get up to speed.
But saying that, in terms of what the actual consequences are if the Fair Work Agency were to barge in and say, actually, you know what, you haven't been paying holiday pay correctly.
Yeah.
The situation is that they would ask you to repay what you owe to the individual. Fine, because that's what you would have need to pay anyway. And then they can fine you on top of that 200%, so twice as much as a fine of the holiday that you didn't pay, up to a cap of £20,000 per head, right? But it goes down to just 100% of the fee if you pay it in 14 days. So it's like a parking fine. But so, you know, I know it's really scary that this is coming in, and there is time to sort it out.
Yes.
But hopefully we're talking about, you know, the odd few quid here and there. That being said, one of the highest value cases I've worked on was a mass workforce where, exactly in the situation you describe, individuals were acquired into a new business and they were told, look, you've got this commission pay structure.
Yep.
You can either be paid with this commission pay structure, or we'll take the commission pay structure away and we'll pay you more, but you're not going to make it as commission, but we're not including it in average holiday pay when that change came into the law. Employees all said, yeah, we like the bonus structure as it is, we'll keep it like that, please.
Yeah.
then get a mass grievance from all of these employees saying, where's my average holiday pay? We're like, you agreed, you wanted this to be the way forward. It's not possible to do that, and it's worth hundreds of thousands of pounds going back years and years and years for, you know, a huge workforce. That's where your potential liability sits. And
I think that's the issue, is that you've done lots of little things for people over the time. That's where you'll kind of acquire, and it's not there's not like one big invoice that's going to come in for this. It will be an accumulation of issues. I think the thing with this as well, anyone who thinks he's going to jail, they're not doing that.
No,
because it's like with right to work checks and the chance of going to prison with that. You ain't got to. Well,
there isn't actually even a sanction of possibility of jail time. It's unlimited fines, which is a criminal sanction. So, yeah.
But again, it's that you need to be doing something really awful you need to be awful. Like,
there needs to be probably an email along the lines of, "Hi, Alastair, I have decided not to do this anymore. Nobody gets any holiday pay. Lots of love from employer."
But I also think there's more employees can do, and they need to do more to make sure they can do it. It's like, because we still get the question of like, can I force my team to take leave?
Yeah.
And I'm like, going, yes, you can do.
And you need to.
Yeah.
All of this stuff, I really dislike it because it stops people from actually just getting on with things where you're like, no, I know you're not asked about those last few days of the year that you don't want to take, and you're enjoying what we're doing, or whatever reason that you don't want to take it, fine, but we're going to have to make you.
But the other point with that is that do you need to take your statutory 20 minimum? Or if you've got above your statutory, you've got additional contractual days. So actually is that...
Honestly, the fact that we've been through all of this employment law reform and we haven't touched holiday pay when we've got an EU minimum, a UK minimum, and then a contractual entitlement on top is mental. And that is the hill I am willing to die on.
Holiday pay is mental. It is
the one genuinely insane.
It's the one area that you didn't think would have a continual existential crisis.
Always. Like, it's overdue a spiral, actually. Like, you know, we haven't had one in maybe 6 months.
It needs some medication just so it can calm down, to be fair. It's been, honestly, it's bananas. But with that as well, talking about sick pay and holiday pay, I want to go back to casual workers and SSP, which I wasn't allowed to make a conversation point today because you said I wasn't allowed to do it.
What?
You said yes. I've got a WhatsApp from you.
Maybe I need to use my use of Vento better.
Yeah. But again, speaking to a client yesterday, they got a lot of casual workers in the business, and they were like, "What do you do about sick pay for casual workers?" And it is, well, if they're scheduled to be on shift, that person then rings up and then follows a normal reporting procedure, then you've got to pay them as per that. The question was about enhancements as well, so they have an enhanced scheme. So my view on life is that if they're under the 13 weeks, you can pay them an SSP, but if they go above 13 weeks, then you've got to pay them in line with, or you use them continuously for 13 weeks, then you can do that. If you're not, then you can pay them an SSP. But it's it's going to catch people out, the casual worker piece. And there's a real kind of like, but normally kind of like they're a bit kind of like they'll chop and change. And I think if you've got a big casual worker population and you are and people don't turn up, and you're quite happy to zero, you've got bollocks to it, even if they ring in, we'll just not pay you. I think you'll probably see some people will learn to game that system quite quickly.
Yeah.
So the other part of it as well is making sure you've got attendance management procedures in place. So again, is that if they're going off and you're seeing absences in terms of like 2 absences in like the first 3 months, then you say, well, actually, we're going to terminate the contract on that basis.
Yeah.
But I think you've got to be really clear, really hard about that, and be very explicit about what you do.
I think a lot of people are panicking, waiting to see how this is going to impact them. And at the minute, we don't know if it actually will or not. There's a real cynical part that's like believing that there's a capacity for it, but, you know, basically keep an eye on it. And if it does come to be an issue, introduce those policies, upskill your line managers so that they're knowing that they can pull up on this. And then as long as people are equipped to know, actually something could be disability-related absence and we need to take extra steps to take care. But if not, be robust.
But But I think that's the point where I don't think you should wait and see. I think you should get a policy in place. That's not.
Yeah.
But it's being really clear. But it's also the bit where whatever happens in life, people will game the system. You know what I mean? And I think there is people, when we speak to people, they want this kind of like, I want this absolutely foolproof titanium, it's going to work plan. And I'm like going, oh, God, I wish I had one of them. It's just, they don't exist.
We are seeing a lot of system gaming. I mean, I've told you about these claimants that are coming to the employment tribunal systematically, to the extent that we've received claims against 3 of our clients from the same person by chance, because he is making applications with 2 CVs, one of which has protected characteristics that are very obvious and one of which it doesn't, and he's trying to extort awards from employers.
Yeah, no, you mentioned that, and we've seen that through not ourselves but another company we deal with, and there's a chap that will make serial applications. He'll try and get to sort of probably the lowest level type person in the business, make a number of requests to that person about his interview. Those things then don't happen, and then the letters begin.
So maybe my cynicism needs to be restored, and people are more likely to game the system than I'm expecting.
But this is the bit. But it's like a lot of the stuff that we put in place is only there for when it goes wrong.
Yeah, very true.
And I say, like, with the vast majority of people, you're not going to be reaching for the contracts, for the policies, and actually the vast majority of people just want to come in, do a decent day's work and go home and see their families.
You mean you're not staying up at night reading all the policies?
No, I am, for different reasons. But there is always going to, like, we're not immune from knobheads. You know what I mean? Ultimately, they don't discriminate.
I mean, this is why we have a job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think the reason we put a lot of time and effort into the contracts is that when it goes wrong with these individuals, they're the ones that are reaching for the policies and the contracts.
Yeah.
And this is where they create the long legal bills. And it's the bit where this is why it's important to do it, because you do have these. We're having these inferences probably on a more frequent basis, either with the same people on a continual basis, or with there's probably a few more people feel probably a bit more empowered to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe with the support of ChatGPT.
Support ChatGPT. What I would say is that if you are coming across a problem person, maybe just put their name in the employment tribunal decisions and see if you can get a bit of an insight as to how many other times they've done this.
But I think whether they're in the business or out of the business, this is the reason why it's really good to have the procedures, let people know what they need to do, just try and be on top of it.
Well, most of it is really equipping your managers to understand what they need to do, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people are really poor at doing, because it's the bit where you see people just silo everything and go, it's all right, I'll sort it out. So when we get a manager in the wild that has to deal with something
a manager in the wild? The lesser spotted manager out on the plains.
And it is like, it's like Tony, you know what I mean? Tony don't deal with a great deal. He's like, oh.
Yeah.
And he's like a bison. There's just, is it a bison? What's the one that always gets eaten all the time?
In what environment? You have to be more specific.
Like in the Serengeti.
Like an antelope.
Yeah. So anyway.
Pick your prey of choice.
It literally is. So Tony is your prey of choice for certain people.
Oh, Tony.
Tony. I've not even got to Barbara from Wigan.
Oh, Barbara.
So.
Yeah.
But this is the bit where if they are out in the wild, they need to be able to know how to protect themselves.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that you're getting tooled up.
So what's the metaphorical predator here? A claim?
Like, I think there is a bit where your managers are going to run into more issues on a more frequent basis.
100%, and we can't anticipate what all of them will be.
No, and I think it's the, rather than saying let's know about all the different processes, it's the bit of like when
it comes up, where do I go?
Yeah, how do I manoeuvre into myself into a safe space where I've committed to nothing, and I can still then come back with a response on things.
Go on, Tony. You've got it, Tony.
You're great.
We believe in you.
Yeah. You didn't get the turn of the tiger joke, did you? No. So no, but anyway, I think there is a lot to happen. There is a lot to kind of still unfold. Is there anything else from you?
No.
So we don't have any questions. Well, we did sort of have questions. That was the zero sick pay.
Other than that, we're just getting. I mean, did we touch on restrictive covenants before? Have we not?
No.
Restrictive covenants are currently subject to reform. That there's been a consultation. The consultation is closed, but the proposal is that non-competes will either be time limited to like 3 to 6 months, or will be limited based on the value of the business, basically recognizing that they're of most value to very small, innovative businesses that need to protect their confidential information, proprietary information, or that they would have a sliding scale on how much someone earns or things like that. So we're in consultation, we'll see what happens. I've been in court for 2 weeks talking about non-competes, and while life would be made much easier if there was just a blanket, you can never have anything over 6 months. Where's the fun in that? But
no, and I think we deal with restrictive covenants on quite a regular basis, and I would say there's more. We've probably seen people have more success in terms of getting injunctions, or at least having degrees of success with restrictive covenants recently. But I also think people have started to take them more seriously recently.
Yeah, I think you see different sectors really as industries that I didn't realise would be so into it. But yeah.
And I think it's interesting what you're saying there. I knew it was up for consultation, wasn't aware that was some of the feedback. I'm kind of holding my breath until we get.
We shall see.
But I always think the approach with restrictive covenants is that if you've not taken them seriously, then why do you expect a court to take them seriously?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's the bit where you need to show that level of kind of thought.
If only I could have called you as a witness, that would have really distilled quite a lot of what we went through.
You've called me as a witness.
I'm calling Alastair Swindlehurst to the stand. But no, absolutely right. So watch this space, basically.
So no. I was going to say, anything else that's come up in your world?
Nothing from me?
No. I was going to say, we'll send this out in the same way. If you've got any questions, messages on socials, I was going to say, we'll put this in our usual. I think that's really kind of the camera telling us that it's time to go. So
yeah.
If people need to contact us, you can find us at info@ezhr.uk. And just feel free, just if you want to kick the tyres on any issues, or just kind of go like, what's happening? Which is a lot of our conversations.
Yeah.
Absolutely feel free to do that.
You can find me on the Horsfield Menzies website, horsfieldmenzies.com. And yeah, other than that, we'll see you next time.
Have a great one. Speak to you soon.